둘, 셋, 파! 안녕하세요. 반찬선장입니다.
So, oh my God, have you seen all of these fucking comeback stages?
Oh, they're so incredible. All of these comeback stages. This is one of my favorite things about comeback season 2 is these comeback stages because we get so many different angles and close-up shots and live vocals coming through. Yeah, I'm in love with them.
I was truly this time around, I was thinking, well, we already have like the manifesto, we have music videos, we have live performances on Corden and Fallon. Like, you know, do we really even need the classic comeback stages? Yeah. But oh my God. I'm so happy that we got them because they have like different angles and some of them or like closer up shots. And I have just been really, and also all the different outfits. This is like really the comeback stages are when you get to see the different styles of the era.
Yeah. It's been wonderful.
I've been loving them.
I love them too.
So welcome back, Iconics. And if you're new to the podcast, I'm Kayla.
And I'm Bethany, and this is Standing BTS.
Yes,
welcome to another wonderful episode where we get to hang out for about an hour and just talk about BTS.
What a wonderful hour it is too. But disclaimer, this is an informative fangirl podcast. That means that we're going to fangirl, laugh, and learn a little bit along the way.
Yep, that's right. This is an explicit podcast though, so if you aren't cool with that, you can dip out now. We won't blame you.
Totally. But if you're down for some, I'm not fully sure what's going to happen in this episode yet, but I bet it'll be emotional.
Yes. Or this is the comeback where biases don't exist and ARMY is just perpetually wrecked by every single member.
You are so true. That's so true.
It's like all their best era.
Seriously. So if you're here for that, then you are in the right place because today we are giving our personal take and review of Map of the Soul 7.
Whoop, whoop. Finally, guys, it took a lot. It took a lot.
Yeah, but we are so excited to just get into and explore all of our thoughts and feelings about this album. But of course, before we get into it, we want to say thank you, Iconics, for being here and for supporting us. If you would like to support us even further and have access to our Google Docs full of episode notes, important links, pictures, you can do that by donating monthly to our Patreon at patreon.com/standingbts.
Or if you'd like, you can make a one-time donation at paypal.me/standingbtspodcast. Your support helps us to improve the quality of our content and to continue putting out weekly episodes. Any type of support, Iconics, is super appreciated. Thank you all for being here and for listening.
Yeah, it means the world to us every time that we hear from you, and just knowing that you guys are there is really the reason why we're doing everything. So real quickly before we get into the episode, it is the first episode of March, which means that we should be debuting our new charity of the month. But just because we'd like to spend a little bit of time talking and explaining about our charity of the month, and because we know this episode is going to be a doozy, lengthwise, yeah, for sure. We are going to postpone introducing and talking about our charity of the month until next week's episode.
Yeah, so be looking for that next week. So here's an overview of our Map of the Soul 7 album review. We're first going to talk about general info about the album. Then we're going to go song by song for the second half of the album, discussing the writers and producers, the general vibe and feel of the songs, lyrics, and of course our interpretations of those lyrics. If you're interested in hearing more about the first half of the album, go listen to our Map of the Soul Persona album review, which was episode 66. We're also briefly going to discuss Shadow, Black Swan, On, and Ego because we've already covered all of these topics for each of those songs in previous episodes, which we'll give a shout out as we go along if you want to go back and listen to those. Okay. So here's some general information about Map of the Soul 7. It was released on February 21st, 2020. Some of the common symbols and themes that we see in this album is we see BTS themselves as a concept, not as much of an album era series theme that we've kind of seen in the past. This is more revolved, like the concept is them, and a lot of the concept too is ARMY and the relationship between the two.
Yeah.
It's really a reflection of them over the past 7 years, which makes sense with Map of the Soul 7, where they are now and where we are with them, how there's this fandom relationship with BTS, the growth of the fandom. And then something we also really love about this album that really makes it 7 is that they all have solo songs, which we were kind of anticipating.
Yeah, this was surprising to us that this album turned out to really seem more of being BTS, them as a concept, because with Persona, we spent a lot of time on Persona heavily talking about Jungian concepts and themes that came into play in the lyrics because of this Map of the Soul and things that referenced the Map of the Soul book. And, everything was really heavily focused on like talking about that persona. And this was not so as much. If, Map of the Soul persona was them exploring that, this was like them exploring themselves and relationship with ARMY.
Yeah, which is a little bit a part of the idea of Map of the Soul and Persona and Shadow. There is exploration into that, but there really isn't that heavy Jungian references that we were kind of anticipating. But it's kind of a relief because now we don't really have to get into that.
Yeah.
But we also have this on music video that we have to totally dissect, which is going to be really hard.
Oh, it's going to be so tough.
Yeah, but some common lyrical references we do see within the lyrics, they kind of reappear over and over in a lot of the songs, are child, shadow, sea, maze, winters and springs, and of course 7. We also kind of see some movie references, although we see this more in the music videos than in the lyrics. But that's we kind of hear movie here and there, like especially in Jungkook's song.
Yeah. And I do feel like these are references that BTS has made before in their lyrics. Like it's almost, relating this album back to previous themes that they've talked about too. So as far as the repackaged songs, we have Intro Persona, Boy With Love, Make It Right, Jamais Vu, and Dionysus. I was honestly surprised that 5 of the songs on this album were repackaged. But once the album came out and I listened to it all the way through from all, Persona to Ego, I didn't think that they don't not fit, I think that they go well with the other songs on there. But me personally have the desire to listen to the new music more because I've had those other songs for, the past year almost.
Yeah.
But I think that as far as like in the business mind goes, I think the repackaged songs provide Persona 1 to be the intro for the new album. So then in one whole album, you have Persona, Shadow, Ego, which is kind of cool. And then also I'm thinking about like new fans, like people who discover BTS just now at this comeback. This album, like the rest of Map of the Soul 7, they do have a lot of solo songs. So having the element of these Persona songs on there provides some more OT7 songs for a potential new listener. And also, I love the Dionysus transition from that into Shadow.
It really flows so well one into another. And we even talked about how Dionysus was a little experimental, which gets us into Shadow, which is also pretty experimental, is how we feel about it.
Yeah, and I remember like at the end of the Persona episode being like, the way that this song is, it's so different. Like they're totally setting themselves up to go on to something like more experimental and push those limits. And then, of course, the next fucking song on the album, they did it.
Yeah, we really raved about that in our Map of the Soul Persona album review. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and go through the remainder of the track list, starting with Interlude Shadow. So it was written and produced by Suga, El Capitan, Ghost Loop, P-Dog, and RM. The keyboard is being played by Suga too, which we just find really incredible because we love that was his first love, So it's very special that he's on the keyboard for the song. But if you guys want to know more about Shadow, check out episode 101, which is Suga's Shadow, for a review of the song's lyrics, production, and meaning. So now we're going to get into Black Swan. It was written and produced by P-Dog, RM, August Rigo, Vince Nantes, Clyde Kelly. And then J-Hope and Jungkook worked on the chorus of this song, which, wow, good job. It's such a good song. But also, we're not going to get in depth on this song because we've already covered it in episode 102, Black Swan. Very clever title there. So go check that out if you want a review of the song's lyrics, production, and meaning.
Yeah, for sure. So the first new song to cover today is Filter, which of course is Jimin's song. Filter was written and produced by Tom Wickland, Hilda Stemmalm, Hitman Bang, Lee Suran, Lutra, Donkey, and of course Jimin also worked on the chorus, which is super cute and so proud. So immediately upon hearing this song, I felt like the vibe and the feel was like a sexy Latin seductive vibe, kind of with like the rhythm that we get and then the guitar. It definitely gives that Latin feel. It's kind of upbeat, and I feel like this is definitely a song you can shake your hips to.
Oh, it's so sexy, definitely.
And that sexiness, like at the same time, it's so much of a siren song. Like when I listen, I feel totally memorized. And he does the amazing Jimin thing, right? Where he's like, he's singing very light and airy at some points, and then he'll contrast it with like lower register harmonies, either along with it like in the background or just in there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. When I heard these, like, okay.
Oh my God.
Yes. And yeah. Yes. It's so sexy. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Those are my favorite part of the song. He's just like singing and there's a little pause. Okay. Oh my God.
Okay,
his voice is just so sultry and wow. Very sexy.
A little raspy.
Yeah.
It's so sultry. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the lyrics. So one of the lines in the song is, "You can pick and use one of me." And of course the song is Filter. So I'm just thinking about when you take a picture and you want to like edit it and make it look better, you're just like trying to pick and choose. And to me, this really stood out to me because it reminded me of the like Love Yourself speech where Namjoon said, "Please use me, please use us, BTS, to love yourself." And for me, I kind of feel like this is Jimin saying, pick and use one of me to like maybe feel better about yourself or more confident in yourself. That's kind of what I'm getting from the whole song of Filter. And you and I kind of have differences of opinion here, but like that's just how I interpreted it.
No, I agree with that interpretation. I think that interpretation is a better interpretation than what I thought of. And mine is just more basic, like more just literal, what is a filter? I just thought of like BTS's different eras and how each different era might appeal to a different people in different ways. And so it's like, oh, I really love Blood, Sweat, and Tears Jimin, or wow, Fire Yoongi just really kills me, you know? So it's, when it's, you can pick and use one of me, I think about like how K-pop in general can try to be so relatable to so many different kinds of likes
and appearances
and looks and appearances. And, so I was just thinking of it in that sense, but I definitely think that it is like Jimin kind of applying him as a filter in a sense to like make you feel better.
Feel more confident, yeah. And whenever I see Jimin standing next to like Namjoon or anyone else, he just has this confidence to him. Like he knows he's attractive and he's charismatic. And I think just standing beside him would make anyone feel confident and charismatic. So that's kind of how I feel Jimin is what he's trying to say in the song, I guess, at least. Another lyric is, "Let me know your type." And this reminded us of Shadow and Black Swan themes where they're saying like, who am I? Or even Persona saying, who am I? Let me know your type. We kind of got similarity between those songs and Filter.
Mm-hmm. And then he says, I can be your genie. How about Aladdin? And okay, first of all, here's another movie reference.
Yes.
And in the movie Aladdin, the genie was a prisoner to whomever possessed the lamp, but the genie also had the power to grant, any wish that you could ever want. Aladdin was poor, before the genie gave him anything, but he was also kind and caring and, like true love, the prince, and, really heroic. So Jimin is really just saying, I can be whatever you want to be. I can make your wildest dreams come true, or I can just like be the person who cares for you.
Yes, exactly. He can be both.
He can be both.
Mm-hmm. Another line that I really liked was, mix the colors in your palette. Which of me do you want? And the mixing colors in a palette, I just really love that imagery that's put in there. Another thing is, he says, look at me who turned into a child all of a sudden, which child is one of those other common themes in the lyrics. He says, look at me who turned into a child all of a sudden. The more you look, the cuter I am, like crazy. And for me, this is Jimin referencing to his own duality.
Oh my God.
Because a lot of the song is really sexy and all this other stuff. And then he mentions this child. If you look at him more, the cuter he is. And so it's like he's got both. He's got the sexy and the cute.
He's self-aware about his own duality of like how, he knows how sexy he can be in one moment and how cute in the next. And I just love that this line, came across that way. The rest of that stanza is super confident as well, where he says, neither taste nor standards matter in front of me. You become to want me and only me. Yeah, because it's you who made me. So obviously he's like, yes, clearly I'm the one you want, even if not at the beginning, in due time. But then it's like a little nod to Army saying, because it's you who made me. So it's that humility sneaking back in there too. And then at the end, he says, try entrusting yourself to me. We will become a new us. Apply me to your heart. And to me, this line is what really sealed the deal with your interpretation of Filter for me, because the apply me to your heart, where, you put on a filter to make yourself feel better about a picture, or, just to alter appearance or whatever, for confidence, right? Yeah. And, Jimin is saying, like, use me for confidence, apply me to your heart, apply my confidence to who you are. And I just love that.
Yeah, I think that just goes into like our overall interpretations of this song is like Jimin using him as a filter, as a way to build self-confidence or love for oneself.
Yeah, and I think it also at the same time shows his love for Army. And I feel like he's trying to express his desire to be beside Army whenever we're feeling low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm. It's just, he's so kind and reassuring. He's such a great supporter. We all know that. He is the only filter that we need.
Yes, and we are totally under his power and control.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so moving on to Jungkook's solo song, which is My Time. It was written and produced by Sleep D's, RM, Jungkook, J-Ra, Gibson, P-Dog, Prince Board, Rochelle, Elaine, and Jungkook also worked on writing the chorus. So for the vibe and feel of this song, it's very much R&B, and it's a gentle and passionate song. It's very steamy.
This is a
very
sex
gentle
song.
and passionate.
Okay?
It is a sex song.
Like,
yeah.
this is a song that you add to your sex playlist, and like, this song sounds sexy.
He does a lot of vocal runs, so many beautiful vocal runs.
His vocal runs remind me of like the ones that Justin Timberlake does in his like super R&B passionate songs. It just gives me that total vibe.
Oh yeah, and he just, by the way he sings, you can tell he just loses himself in this song and really lets go. I think this song is so wonderful for him.
Yeah, I can imagine him in the studio, or I can imagine him performing this live and just closing his eyes and just letting those runs go and just totally feeling it in the moment. And you can really feel his passion come through as he's singing this song. So getting into the lyrics, he starts off right at the beginning saying, 24, it feels as if I became an adult quicker than anyone. My life has been a movie all the time. And so again, we have like this movie reference. And if you're thinking about your life being movie, it's all moving too quick. It's maybe like picture perfect. And he's immediately setting the tone for this song that it's going to be a reflection back on, the short life that he's had so far. He goes on to say, but perhaps I was too fast. There are traces of what I missed. Don't know what to do with it. Am I living this right? So he just really doesn't know what to do with the idea that maybe he did miss out on something, or, he's set on this path now, but what if his life would have been different? What if he would have made different choices?
He was so young to make this decision, this big life decision that this has become his life. And he was like so young, 14. I cannot imagine.
He graduated middle school with Bangtan.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Can you imagine doing unless you're like a gymnast, there's very few professions that do this, like gymnasts, dancers, like singers, may sometimes start like that young rigorously, but there's very few who like you're doing something the majority of your day in middle school and you're still doing it now as a 24-year-old.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. I can't imagine, and especially what he has missed out on, like a normal adolescence, normal teenage years, like just going to high school and having friendships and, like fucking around, being a kid,
being a kid.
He couldn't do any of that because he always had the weight of representing Big Hit, representing Bangtan, and just, he had so many responsibilities from
just not being
so
a normal
young.
Childhood.
Yeah.
Adolescent.
Yeah. So he goes on to say, oh, I can't call ya, I can't hold ya. And then he even says, I can't touch ya. And this person, and yes, you know, almost like, yes, you know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
And later on in the song, it changes to, I will call you, I will hold you, I will touch you. So later on in the song, he kind of finds the resolution to find his time, as throughout the song, he's saying, finna find my time. And wow, I just really appreciate him for saying finna. What a slang word out of Left Park for, out of left field for him to use.
Field, yeah.
I'm thinking of Park Jimin still. What a slang term out of left field to use, but I think it fits so well, and it definitely fits like the R&B vibe of the song too.
And it's comforting to us to know too that like maybe his time wasn't when he was an adolescent. Maybe he didn't have that normal life, but like he's eventually going to find his time. He's going to find that moment where he can have this like self-development or just time outside of BTS.
Time to not just be Jungkook of BTS, you know?
Yes. And then lastly for lyrics, he ends up singing, the young me who grew up without my own knowing. And then he ends up saying, like a child who lost his way, which this line is just like, he grew up so fast and just it quite literally flashed before his eyes. He wasn't even aware of what he was losing or, just kind of this abnormal, different life that he decided to live at such a young age and just was not aware of it. And who could be when you're that young?
Yeah. I mean, no way that he thought, back then that this is where he would be now. And man, I I mean, we have all had that feeling of feeling like we went through an experience, especially from like childhood, so quickly. And, you know, you didn't know until afterwards all that had happened. You know, it's kind of like that catching your breath type of thing. So for our interpretation of the song overall, I mean, I do feel like it's a reflection back on the past 7 years for him, for sure. Kind of course, searching for his time. But it doesn't seem resentful. You know, I think the way that we talk about it, we're like, oh, we feel bad for him that this has been his experience, but I don't think that is how he is meaning it, you know? Like, I think he's happy and he's grateful for what he has. And he just is accepting that this is his life. This is his story, but he's just hoping for some time. He's just hoping for a little bit of exploration, I think, on his own.
And I think it would be wrong for us to not acknowledge that this could be the lyrics where he says, I can't call you, I can't hold you, I can't touch you. You know, I think maybe he's reflecting back on his youth, his childhood, like he can't hold his younger self, he can't touch it or like bring back what he missed, but like there's always the potential that this could be about a relationship, you know, like this could be about, I mean, I can't imagine how frustrating it would be, even just like friendships, being in the spotlight all the time, being so restricted, but especially for relationships, it's like romantic relationships, it's really difficult in K-pop. It's just, you know, terrible. So it's really sad to think that a lot of the members, or all of them, they can't really have that relationship, or they can't really be around them very often if they do.
Yeah, it feels like this idea of time is kind of a dual meaning of like finding the time from his youth and his childhood, but also finding the time in regards to the freedom to do what he wants to do, which he can't really do under the spotlight like this. Yeah. Well, I do really love this song, though. It is just one of my favorites on the album. I think he did such a wonderful job.
He did.
So the next song is Louder Than Bombs, and this was written and produced by Troye Sivan, Ali X, Leland, Bram Inscore, RM, Suga, and J-Hope. The vibe and feel of this song has very much of that dark pop vibe, meaning that it's like a little grungy, but it has that kind of poppiness going on. It has a prominent bass line. There's snaps in the background, kind of acting as like hi-hats, kind of in those place fillers. It's echoey, but it's heavy and atmospheric. And also the kind of the singing of the ahs of the pre-chorus and chorus kind of in between lines, they tend to be very haunting a little bit.
Yeah.
The song, it hurts to listen to. It seems painful and passionate and mournful. And I don't know, as I was listening to it, the word that kept going through my mind was that this song is a lament.
Yeah.
And a lament is just like a song of like mourning or sorrow, and the lyrics and the sound of the song really express that feeling. And not that the song is like all sad, right?
Yeah.
But it definitely has that kind of that feel to it, that vibe to it, for me, of course, at least.
It does have that vibe to it, and I just love describing it as atmospheric and echoey and heavy, and it is that dark pop, and it is very experimental. I feel like that I have not heard a song like this from BTS before, and I think a lot of us were maybe taken aback by it a little bit, just because it was unexpected the way that it sounds. But it's beautiful and impactful, and you really feel a lot of passion and pain and that lament that you're referencing to.
Yeah, I think like typically during a BTS song, especially an OT7 song like this, during the pre-chorus chorus is where that like tempo and that beat picks up a little bit. But in this song, that's where it slows us down, especially with those ahs back and forth. So I think it's very different from what they normally put out. As far as the lyrics go, at the beginning they say, the unfamiliar shadow in those shouts and cheers, the word that perhaps will never be believed, quote, let's only see and hear good things, which is a direct reference from 2-3 from their Wings album. And this just comes from, and BTS have said this, that it's like BTS can see ARMY's shadows at concerts, you know, through everything they can see the pain and the suffering that ARMY brings with them
they can
to
see
a
us
concert.
Crying at the concert.
Oh God!
And you can
because
see like
we're so
Jimin and all of
moved.
them just like saying like, "Don't cry, don't cry." Yeah,
But yeah, because we have this emotional and like spiritual response to their concerts because it is so powerful and moving, and because their music has done so much for us. And, you know, and a lot of what that music does is it's that music for healing. So when we bring like that shadow or that part of us with us, you know, they can see the pain that we're going through too.
And I think that this song is such a memento to that. Also, this is a little delayed, but we did not cite a reference here. Dulcet Bonton is where we got all of these lyrics, which is where we always get the lyrics. And Dulcet Bonton is amazing because they provide a lot of insight on just like the Korean translation and how it could differ between English and kind of what the meanings of certain words in Korean might be that doesn't really carry over into the English language. So a lyric, another like set of lyrics that we really love is, I want to tell you, the darkness exists everywhere. Don't be afraid. Whatever night swallows me, I don't give up. The fight that is for you will shine. Also, a word that we totally, or a lyric that we kind of failed to mention at the beginning that is reoccurring is fight. Fight comes up a fair amount. Especially in On, we know that. Yeah. But yeah, this is it's so wonderful. It's comforting. And even though this song seems like a lament and it's so, you can feel the pain, but it's like, hey, it exists everywhere. You're going to experience it, but don't be afraid of it. Like, you can fight this. Yeah, we'll keep shining.
It's that feeling of perseverance, you know, that they're promoting through that.
Yeah. Then they go on to say, you and I, we all feel it together. And this again, I just am brought back to like the whole speak yourself, love yourself concepts of just please use me, please use BTS to love yourself. You and I, we feel it together that we're one, that we're helping each other as much as they help us, we help them. And I think they're just so grateful and we're so grateful. And let's just get emo about this ARMY BTS relationship.
Yes, because and as much as we help each other too, we see each other's pains and we help each other through those in the same way. And I'll just never be over that quote. Like, I'll think about that on my deathbed. Please use me. Please use BTS to love yourself.
Yeah.
Another quote, another lyric from the song says, they are jealous of us. They say the pain I own is hypocrisy. No matter what I do, I roll in filth. And then they continue on to say, yeah, we picked this game. And to us, this lyric is really addressing the consequences of fame that we hypothesize so much about during Shadow. Because yes, it's a choice that they all made to be, you know, in the spotlight, to join a entertainment company, to debut, you know, to try to be idols and gain this fame and notoriety. But, you know, when they talk about their struggles, media or, you know, haters or just anybody basically tells them like, who are you to say anything? Like, you have all of these things in the world. So you're a hypocrite for having all of this. You have so much and yet you're still complaining.
Yeah. And I think this is just them addressing the pain that they feel because they acknowledge our pain. And then here at the end, they're kind of just explaining the pain that they feel. And then this struggle of they feel this pain, but they feel like they don't have the right to feel the pain, or that they're told by haters and whatever that they can't feel this pain, which we'll get into much later on here when we get to UGG. But lastly, one of the last lyrics is, if it's not us, okay, who's going to do it? And to me, this is saying, yeah, this fame comes with a lot of consequences, and it can be painful and unenjoyable at times, but what they're doing is impacting people around the world, and they can see the impact it's making. So they're just going to keep singing for us and making music for us no matter how hard it is on them, which is just, just the love and commitment that they have to sending their message, despite how hard it is. And I can't imagine how hard it is for them. They're so popular.
I think we could also expand the us to not just talk about them seven, but to be the us as BTS and ARMY as a whole, because ARMY, like, we work really hard to spread their message of love and self-acceptance and caring for others, and, just these incredible morals. And we really take it upon ourselves to like live in this way and to also provide that for other people too. So it's kind of like that, rallying call, like we're all in this together. Like sometimes it's fucking hard, but we got to do it. It's our calling.
Yeah. Overall, it's a very heavy song, but also uplifting in a way. But it's just the atmosphere of the song is dense.
Yeah, super cool atmosphere, super cool feeling of the song, and definitely different from anything that we've heard from them before.
Mm-hmm. So the next song on the album is On, which is their hit track for the album. It was written and produced by Antonina Armato, Rigo, J-Hope, Julia Ross, Krista Youngs, Fontana, Michael Schultz, P-Dog, RM, and Suga. And if you are interested in knowing more about the lyrics, go ahead, and the production and all of that that we're talking about, go ahead and check out our episode 106, which I believe is on those nips. And that was our last episode. Check that out. We get into the lyrics, the production, and the meaning of the song as well. Mm-hmm. So after On is, in English, I want to pronounce it ugh, but in Korean it's more,
I would say okay, but I just think that's how I hear it in the song with like the auto-tune, and I don't speak Korean, so.
I really think it is, like I hear okay because okay, but it's not ugh, which is how I was always pronouncing it before the album was released. So I'm like, it's kind of confusing for me, but I totally still jammed to the song.
I feel like they say it two different ways in the song too. Like they say that okay part, but then later on when they're going back and forth, they're like oog, 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 oog.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But anyways, so this song was written and produced by Supreme Boy, Suga, RM, Hiss Noise, J-Hope, and Ice Cream Drum. I just have to give a shout out to Supreme Boy here, because if you go and look at the actual in your album, in the little packet of all the lyrics and everything, Supreme Boy is all over this song. He really is. Which he's just like, he's a part of the 94 line too.
And before some of you get in our inbox being like, but Supreme Boy, blah, blah, blah. Okay, listen.
He's a terrible person.
Okay, we've talked about him before. We've done research about all of the like things about him before. Yeah. I don't know.
Check out our BTS producers episode. I don't know which one that is. There you go.
That's the episode.
BTS producers.
BTS producers. We talk about it extensively.
The controversy.
We think that we give a very unbiased, well-rounded look and, opinion about Supreme Boy. And you know what? Like, we just want to enjoy the music that he makes, especially when it's for Bangtan, because it's fucking awesome.
He definitely vibes well with the feel that Yoongi, Namjoon, and J-Hope all have. So the song is bomb. So for the vibe and feel of the song, click, clack, motherfucker, like boom, right at the beginning. Like you just hear this gunshot. It like
classic fucking Bangtan.
Yes, classic. Hit right in the chest, just shot to the floor. Right off the bat. It's wonderful. But in this song, we get a lot of kind of dang and cypher vibes. And Yoongi ended up saying that if you enjoy the cyphers, that you will enjoy this song. what we really appreciate about this song is there are so many different flow styles for each member, especially Yoongi at the beginning. I was like, wow, he is all over the place. He is just trialing out all these different flows and styles. Same with Namjoon. Namjoon gets up in pitch a little bit at some parts. Oh, don't even get me started on J-Hope. Don't even get me started on J-Hope's verse. But yeah, it's so good, guys. Like this rap line song, and I know you all are fanatic about it too. Like we all are.
Yeah. How could you not be?
There's a lot of biting consonants. There's this growling ugs and ughes, and it's killer vibes. It's a total headbanger. It makes you kind of grimace your face, like just get nasty.
Yeah.
You just feel on top of the world. Like you can take on whatever. You just want to like think about the person that you really don't like and just dance in front of the mirror and feel like a total badass.
I feel like I should be crumping.
Yes.
Like, is that what they're doing at the end of this song? You know, the end, like the last like 20 seconds is like gunfire, and you're like, what the fuck are they doing on stage at this time? Like, what are they planning? What if they just like in a dance circle just start hardcore fucking crumping?
And Kayla, I know I've told you this story so many times, but like at work, I was super upset. I was super mad. I came into the rehab office. I closed the door. I looked at my coworker. I'm like, listen, I got to play a song. And when the end came with all those gunfires, he's like, oh shit, you're real mad. Like these gunshots.
You're like, yeah, I'm going to fucking kill somebody right now. Aggressive.
Oh yeah.
And amazing.
Killer.
For this song, when we're talking about the lyrics, we're going to kind of structure it differently than the previous songs, just because they have very specific usage in the things that they do in the song. So they use a fuck ton of onomatopoeias. If you don't know, if you haven't really realized this or thought about this, onomatopoeias in every language are different. So like Korean has their own onomatopoeias, English has their own onomatopoeias. One of the onomatopoeias that's used is dong dong dong, which is in Korean, that's like the sound for a drum sound. They also use the onomatopoeia tuk tuk or tuk tuk, which is tapping somebody. And then pook pook, which is pushing something down, or in context, or in some contexts, this can also mean threatening to drown someone.
Jesus.
Or it can also be the sound used for stabbing.
Yeah.
So you can imagine like that soft, like, I don't know, resistant sound. I don't know what stabbing sounds like.
It's violent.
Yeah.
It's really violent.
It's a violent onomatopoeia to use if you're thinking about it in that context.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even know in English, like, it's not like ching ching, but like, I don't know.
No, in English, it's wee, 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 like that horror movie.
Okay, or ugh, is throwing up, also part of a phrase used to lose one's temper in explosive anger.
I feel like it's used the same way in English. Like if somebody says ugh in English, like maybe in English sometimes it's more of like a frustrated, but you're not really like exploding in anger, but it's the same kind of emotion.
Definitely. Another onomatopoeia is twee, which is kind of like a spit sound, like that's how I think of it.
Yeah. Namjoon did it in was it Persona?
He may have, yeah. Probably. Yeah. That seems very
I just remember
plausible.
seeing the word and
And then last but not least, my favorite onomatopoeia, despite the title of the track, is ahem. Ahem. Like, oh my gosh. And so this is an attitude sound meant to show you're here to give someone a lesson. It reminds us of like the Korean trope of throat clearing when entering a room, which we think is references back to Idol, where we see Jungkook, especially in the trailer, where he kind of does a little cough, and it's that ahem. Like
you better not be fucking talking about me. Yeah.
I'm here to
I
say
love the
something.
idea. I'm going to fucking say something. I'm going to teach you a lesson.
Which is exactly what happens as we get into the lyrics.
Oh, yeah. We are taught many lessons. The other thing that this song has is very clever wordplay, which of course we are accustomed to seeing in rap line songs. They all work on the lyrics. They do such an incredible job. So they say, one line says, "But this is human waste, not anger." But in Korean, the word "but," which they say in English, it sounds like the English word "but" sounds like the Korean word for rage. So it sounds like
clever.
they're saying like rage. This is human waste, not anger. So
for Korean listeners,
for Korean
or
listeners,
anyone who
right?
speaks Korean.
Knows, yeah. They also say, "You're not just killing me. For us, we're used to stepping on shit." So they're basically fucking. They're like, this isn't just anger. This is rage. Like we're just stepping on all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also have a lot of dual meaning words, such as countless people became numb. Numb in this translation can also mean sick or terrified of something. And then they bring it back to say, look at those who became desensitized. Human waste and indifference, you're a team. So it's kind of the idea of like being desensitized to like the shit going on around you and people, you know, society generally being indifferent to it and saying that all this bullshit and the indifference about it is a team together. I feel like you are really passionate about that topic right now in your life. Just like shit going on and the indifference about it.
Yes.
And then they go on to say, "I get outraged at the malicious anger." And they're really just in this song, they are outraged by the outrage.
Yes.
Like that's the reason for like the overuse of the onomatopoeias, especially ugh, especially I am. Oh God, it's so good. But you know, like they're like fucking fed up in this song.
They are fed up. They're like, this is the last straw for them. They're like, they fucking are going off. It's wonderful, and you can hear it, and it really, the vibe of the song, you can just hear that they're done. They're over it. They're over this shit. So kind of going off of that, as we get towards the end of the song, as we get into like J-Hope's verse here, the lyric ends up saying, "What's wrong with you getting some hate? You make bank. Why are you whining again? You should be willing to put up with that bite or with that bit. Ahem." And this ahem just grows and grows and grows. It gets louder and louder, and it gets more aggressive, like ahem, ahem, ahem. And you're just like, fuck, I'm here to say something. And it's like they're about to go off and lecture us, or lecture the haters, not us. They're here to lecture the haters. And they go on to basically express that their careers and success have been motivated by their passion for music and providing an outlet for people, healing music, sending a positive message through their music, expressing their passion for music. But unfortunately, I guess it's kind of unfortunate, but as they've grown bigger, they've gotten to be more famous, and with the fame comes the hate. And they've always had the hate ever since the beginning. You know, they've had the hate, but now it's just like, it's 20 times
immense.
That or more because of how popular they are. And with that hate, there's like the haters, there's this expectation or like invalidation of feelings and emotions that they could be experiencing, and that they basically should accept that they're gonna get hate and negativity from the public because they're so famous, and therefore is invalidating their feelings and emotions. Like, you know, you can't be feeling this way because you've got money, you've got this, you've got fandom, you know, fame, you've whatever. So take the hate, and
that's the price you have to pay.
That's the price you have to pay. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just because you have money doesn't mean that you suddenly become numb to all emotions or can no longer experience pain or sorrow. That's bullshit. And this is the like, listen here. And I just
like, if you knew half of the shit that we have went through, truly, then you would not be talking.
No.
You would not be saying that. That's what this whole, like the whole I am, where they just fucking go off.
It's such a bullshit excuse for the haters to just be malicious. Absolutely malicious, and it's unfair to them.
Yeah,
it's unfair to them. And I mean, this is something that we've been told our whole lives, is that like there really is no there is some correlation between happiness and money, but ultimately you get to a point where there's only so much money that can bring you happiness. Yeah. And this correlation between like happiness and money, it really made me think of another podcast called The Happiness Project, which I totally recommend for anyone who is going through a hard time or is having a hard time coming over an obstacle and just wanting how to feel happy and be happy. But there was a therapist who was on the podcast, and he really explained how he's a therapist for the 1%, like the richest of the rich. And a lot of them feel like they can't talk about their problems or share that they have problems. They've got bad relationships. They've got all these complications that come with money, and they're like, going through a lot. But just because they're so rich, people are like, you have all the money in the world. Why you can't feel that way? And
how do you possibly have these problems?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And a lot of people don't sympathize with them.
And I mean, I understand it being hard to sympathize with them if you are, living paycheck to paycheck, where you're just like, shut the fuck up, like that's the fuck up. That's the initial response and reaction. But like, there are studies out there saying like money, there's a cap on how happy money can make you. It's been a long time since I read it, but I feel like for USD, I feel like it's maybe like in the $200,000 range, like $250,000 or something.
There's a cap. They give the stat in the Happiness Project too.
Yeah, that's as happy as you can be with money, and making more than that is not going to make you any happier, because by that point you've gotten all of the like really nice human like luxuries that a lot of people really want and think about, like, wow, if I had that, then I would have it made. By that point you can afford those things, and you're really not going to get any happier with the more money that you have. So I just think that this song is just, I mean, it's another declaration of like BTS, especially the rap line being like, we've worked fucking hard. We deserve to feel our feelings, and you can shut up.
Yeah, shut up. Yeah. Listen here.
Listen, I am. I'm going to teach you something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking love that song.
It's a killer song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. With the gunshots.
Yeah.
So next is 0 O'Clock, and 0 O'Clock was written and produced by P-Dog, RM, Jesse Lauren Fouts, and Antonina Armato. The vibe and feel of this song is very uplifting, inspiring, even therapeutic and consoling. This is just a vocal line song. I love that we have the rap line song and then the vocal line song on the album, and they're two very different vibes.
Very different. In
this song, we get soothing vocals. Their four voices are beautifully woven together. And it's a very encouraging song. And at points of it, it really turns into like almost an anthem where it's, you can really sing along with it and really feel what they want us to feel.
Oh yeah, definitely. So getting into the lyrics, story time, just real quick. I had listened to this song a lot, and it took me a while before I actually went and looked at the lyrics of the songs. I just wanted to listen to the album and really take the album in without the lyrics. And then when we went in to do the lyrics together, and this was like back like a couple of days after the album was released, that we kind of just went and listened and read the lyrics as we went. And guys, the second I read this first stanza, this first verse of the song, I became overwhelmed with tears. I couldn't stop crying. Even when we went into research for this song a couple more times, I cried every time. It will be a miracle if I can make it through this without crying, because the song hits differently, and I feel like a lot of you guys are feeling the same way about it. So the first bit of lyrics here at the beginning that really moved me and resonated with me was, Days when you're sad for no reason, when your body feels heavy, and everyone, except me, looks busy, fiercely living their life. I can't get my feet to move, though it feels like I'm already late. The whole world disturbs me. And guys, I feel like this hits a lot, at heart for a lot of people, because I think a lot of us go through feelings of you're not doing enough, or feel like you can't do enough, or feeling guilt or lazy or unaccomplished. Inadequate, yeah. And then also this guilt and heaviness on your shoulders for feeling tired, but then also feeling like you've hardly done anything. So how could you possibly feel exhausted or tired? And that first verse just really sets the whole song right here at the beginning, because this is basically the remainder of the song is them kind of addressing these feelings of just feeling like you're not enough or doing enough,
and what to do. Yeah. They go on to say, I have fewer words to say. Why when I've run hard? Oh, why me? So this makes you think of previous songs when they kind of talk about, the ending of this run that they've been on, and they pause and they look back and realize, the bad place that they're in, just emotionally. And we do, when we're in this situation, when we feel stuck and we see everybody else around us fiercely living their life, we do tend to feel that first feeling is, why me? Like, why am I going through this? Why doesn't it seem like anyone else is struggling like I'm struggling? Does anyone even know that I'm struggling? And we do immediately take it to that place. So when they get into the chorus and pre-chorus, they say, laying in bed, running through the day in your head, wondering what you did wrong. And this really stuck out to me because I do that all the time. Like, I'll think about like one thing that I said. I'm like, maybe that hurt that person's feelings, or maybe that was not the right thing to say, or, how did I mess this up today? So this is when they introduce the idea of it being 0 o'clock, and the world takes a breath, and that it'll be okay. And I was kind of pondering this reason for 0 o'clock, and it didn't really click for me until you said something about it, because I was thinking, this 0 o'clock, the only thing I could think of was like just before midnight or something. Like I was thinking so literally, midnight. Or just after midnight, like the start of a day. And you kind of brought up the idea of resetting. Like if you unplug an appliance and you turn it back on and it's flashing 00, and it's the idea of starting over, unplugging, which nowadays we have so many like definitions for unplugging from social media, unplugging from TV, unplugging from stress, so many meanings to that. And just really starting fresh, resetting, starting fresh at 00.
Yeah. And it's beautiful because this is in these moments when you're feeling this way, or you have these thoughts running through your head or whatever, having the idea of just resetting and starting over, or, not even starting over, but just starting fresh and clearing the slate. And that's, I think, what really brings this song so much healing and catharsis. They go on to say, like the snow that just settled on the ground, let's breathe as if this is the beginning. Like, just take a breath. This is the beginning. Just that clean slate, the snow that kind of falls and replenishes you.
Also, spring day vibes, the snow on the ground that Taeyong puts his, head down on the rail, and spring day is like the beginning of all this theories shit. Okay. Okay, I'm done.
And then, guys, the chorus, it's so simple, but oh my God, doesn't it just make you want to cry and hug yourself? They say, and you're gonna be happy. Turn this all around. A time when everything is new. 0 o'clock. Like, you're gonna be happy. It's gonna be okay. You can always start over again. You can always just have that reset. and it's just not consecutive. You gotta move forward, and it's just so encouraging. Then they go on to say, I gather my hands and pray that I will laugh a little more tomorrow, that it will be a little better for me. It's so encouraging, and it's the simple phrasing that really is all we need, is just that you're gonna be happy. Tomorrow will be better than today. Take a breath.
It's the comforting feeling to know, like they're literally saying it's okay to not be okay. They're not saying that you have to be fine now, especially this future tense of you're going to be happy. It's that right now you might be crying while listening to this song like you were when we were doing research. But when we get to the chorus where they sing, and it gonna be happy, you can't help but to sing along and to start to feel that little glimmer of hopefulness that, like, maybe not today, but I will be happy.
Yeah. And just guys, overall, I cannot listen to this song because I just go through emotional turmoil. It takes me a long time to recover. When we did research when we were going through the second time for research, I actually was like begging to not listen to it and to just look at the lyrics and just ignore listening to the song, because the tears just come. It's instant. It's instantaneous.
But I was like, we have to listen to it, and you're going to feel how you're going to feel, and we're going to talk about it. So,
and the first verse came, and I cried and cried through the whole song, and cried as we went into Inner Child, because I just can't collect myself.
Yeah. Well, you made it through without crying today live on the podcast.
Yeah. I think it's because I didn't listen to it. Okay, so the next song on the album is Inner Child, which is Taeyoung's solo song. And wow, when the track list came out, a lot of people kind of thought that Inner Child would be Taeyoung's song. I kind of thought it would be 0 o'clock just because of 4 o'clock. But I love that Inner Child is his solo song. So it is written and produced by P-Dog, RM, V, Ryan Laurie, Max Graham, Matthew Thomas, Aiden Lewis, Ellis Maya, and James F. Reynolds. So for the vibe and feel of this song, it just feels like a Taeyoung song. It's kind of a little slower pace, but it has that upbeat melody to it. It reminds us a lot of Winter Bear and 4 o'clock. It just has Taeyoung written all over it. It is very hopeful, and it sounds promising the way that he is singing it. The melody is just so beautiful, and I mean, you just feel like everything is all right, and that he's like, I feel like he's holding me, and like, you're gonna be okay, and it's just promising for the future. The chord progression is very upbeat. It's passionate and heartfelt. You just feel very safe and secure when you listen to it.
For sure. So with the lyrics, and you might infer this from the title of the song, but really we feel like mainly he is talking to his younger self throughout these lyrics. He says, we suffered a lot. The you of back then did not believe in the galaxy, but I happen to have seen the silver galaxy. And so that just makes you think of, back then you could have never conceived of, where we would be now. He says, it must have been painful. It must have been so hard. Time has passed, may have forgotten the pain from so long ago. So this is him comforting his younger self and all of the pain and all of the trials that he went through, as a trainee, after debuting as a really young member, and, just really consoling his younger self, almost like as if he wished could have happened back then.
Yeah, that he could go back and comfort himself. And I love the validation of feelings here. Mm-hmm. This comforting the child Taeyoung, and kind of going back to that lyric of, back then I did not believe in the galaxy. I feel like I feel like this is him saying that he saw or imagined a future self or himself in the future, but maybe didn't believe it. But that he's so grateful that as a child he did envision that, and now he's become that. And I love it. So one of the other lyrics in the song is, I feel the stinging air of that summer day, the sound of ashy streets that felt so cold. And we find it kind of interesting, the mention of summer here in contrast to like more common references for BTS is more like spring and winter. But really, I feel like with this lyric, I'm imagining childhood. I'm really getting the imagery of childhood. Sometimes when I go to the park and there's kids playing on the playground, just hearing like the basketball bouncing on the concrete, or, you know, kids running around, or hearing like the swing of a swing set. So like that stinging air in the summer day makes me think of like someone who might be running and feeling the air hit. But there's also that kind of, it's interesting that it's the stinging air of a summer day.
It almost feels a little lonely, you know?
It does feel a little lonely.
Especially
the ashy streets that felt so cold.
So cold, like so cold in the summer. The only thing that could be cold in the summer is that loneliness, you know? If it's the summer, maybe you don't have school, you're not around your school friends, maybe, you know.
Yeah, it really takes us there.
And then the part that is just, I feel like the most well-known part of the song is when he's singing "We Gon' Change." And to me, I love how this song is after 0 o'clock, because to me, this "we're going to change" is that reset from 0 o'clock, saying, you know, that reset back to 0 o'clock is possible. We're going to change and you're going to be happy, you know. And like this song is on this album in this order is really what we needed to bring us out of our feels and out of the funk that 0 o'clock left us in, you know, all emotional, and where 0 o'clock has that little bit of glimmer of hope, but you're still processing and dealing with emotions and, you know, almost realizing that you're having these emotions through that song. Then here Inner Child comes around and we're feeling that kind of happiness.
I really love that take on it, because it's the resolution I needed to keep moving forward with this album. That we gonna change, and it, you know, that we're gonna do something about it, and no need to worry, because we gonna change, and you're gonna be okay, and it's like, it's his future self talking to his past self and encouraging his younger self. It's just so beautiful. I love it. it. So at the very end of the song, there's the lyrics, because the lights that shined onto your eyes are the me of now, which is what I was going back with that galaxy. I feel like there's just like full circle here. Like what you imagined yourself to be, you became, even though despite all the pain or self-doubt. And then he sings to himself, you're my boy. Yeah.
Good luck lining that one up.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, if it sounds awful, but you get it. Like, you can't help but to shout it. It's like he's scooping up his younger self and just giving him the biggest hug and comforting him, and just thinking of Taeyang and kids and how loving he is, and to just have this love for his younger self. And now that he's grown into the man he hoped to be, and now he's become that man today, and he's just admiring his younger self too for having these future hopes and dreams, but like comforting every little bit of pain and self-doubt that his younger self had. It's beautiful. The message beautiful. Is beautiful.
Like, really, it makes me think Taeyang, the man you are today, like just absolutely perfect and amazing and
handsome as shit.
You know.
Massive.
Big dick. But then, you know,
can't wear
normal pants. All his pants are loose. He has to have specially tailored pants. But this song is so beautiful. Like it's uplifting and it's comforting, and it's, you know, it's a song that allows him to look back on himself, his younger self, with fondness and with incredible amounts of caring. And I just love it.
It's great.
Super passionate. So the next song is Friends, and this is the V-Men subunit song. And it was written and produced by P-Dog, Jimin, Supreme Boy, Adora, Martin, Jolie, Stella Jang. So the vibe and feel of this song is like a back and forth conversation between both of them. It just sounds like live vocals. It's almost relaxed and it's lighthearted and heartfelt and fun. And it just sounds like a celebration of an old, long living friendship. We said that it's really the sound of love.
It is the sound of love. It's so wonderful. I love the back and forth, casual duet that this song is with each other. This is just such a celebration of an old, long living friendship. Yeah. So getting into the lyrics, we really kind of summarized a lot of these lyrics because they're kind of saying a lot of the same things. They're just kind of reminiscing on their friendship and things they've gone through. So the verses are them just reminiscing about their 7-year-long friendship, which is probably actually longer than 7 years. They say 7 years, but they knew each other, a little bit
school. Before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they go on to say it's been rocky, took time for them to get used to each other. They say one day friends, the next day enemies. They go on to say each other's mystery, just that process of getting to know one another and like all those things that irk them about each other and trying to figure out why do they do this or how could they do that, which is just such a crucial part of a friendship is getting to understand the things that irk you about them and why they are that way. But ultimately, it took the time, this time, to really understand one another. And I think now they've gotten to this point where they can fully accept each other. And guys, they made a song about each other's friendship, and it's just them, this subunit. It's so interesting to me because they wanted to make a song about their friendship. That's how much it cares, it matters to them and to each other. And so this is why I just keep going back to how Map of the Soul 7 really is just BTS as a concept themselves. Yeah, because, each song up to this point has been a song that for the people who are in it, whether it's a solo song or a subunit or rap line, vocal line, whatever, it's been a song that has an emotional connection to them, that means something to them, that references to previous times in their life, previous experiences in BTS. And I think that it's just purely them. And ask somebody 2 years ago if there would be a V-Men subunit song on an album. Nobody else, not all of the vocal line, just Taeyoung and Jimin talking just back and forth about their friendship. About their friendship, yeah. It's such a gift. It is such a gift, but it's just, there's nothing like this that's been done before with BTS. No, so it's so special, and it's just really the point in the album where we were realizing more and more that this really is just truly BTS. That's what the concept of this album is. Also, when you and I were doing research for this song, both of us thinking individually, not even talking out loud, but at the same time, we both said, it clicked.
Wait, we met in 2013.
Yes, we did.
We've been friends for 7 years.
7 years.
Oh, what the fuck?
And guys, we've kind of tweeted about it and stuff like Kayla's bias is Jimin, my bias is Taeyoung. They're like such close friends. They've made a song called Friends about their friendship. And they mention how they've been friends for 7 years. And it's like, okay, yeah, we understand the relation because there are biases and we're best friends. But the fact that it clicked for us that we became friends in 2013 and that we have been friends for 7 years, it's like I have goosebumps. Yeah. What a coincidence. It's not. I feel like it's fate. I feel like
it literally is destiny. We were supposed to fall in love with BTS when that one day when you put your hand on my knee and you were like, so I have a new obsession. That was just the beginning of the end, destiny locked in place. I just love that our biases are Jimin and Taeyang, and that it just happens to be this way. And like just the fact that it's them who made this song and it's them telling these stories, it makes it so much more meaningful to us. It makes us reflect back on our friendship so much. Like in these lyrics, they talk about a dumpling incident and they talk about a dream catcher from Bon Voyage. And, you know, we have our own stories, you and I, like we used to drive from, I would ride with you in your car from Kansas City.
Cars.
Yeah.
My terribly
whatever
old
car it was.
Cars, yes.
From Kansas City to St. Louis all the time during college, you know, to go home for the weekend, for holidays, whatever. And I mean, there was a time where we were broken down on the side of the road for like 3 hours and it was like 30 degrees or less outside. And I mean, the bonding that happened.
The bonding.
Really.
Yeah.
And then one time you texted me on a Wednesday night, and because I'll always remember that it was fucking Wednesday, and it was like 9:30 at night, and you were like, I'm bored, I want to do something, I have all this energy, like, and I was like, okay, come pick me up, we're going somewhere. And I had you drive us through the drive-thru, and we ended up going through 2 different McDonald's drive-thrus just so we could both get in the driver's seat and do this. But we like ordered an ice cream cone, asked the person when they handed it to us, do you believe in unicorns? And then we put the ice cream cone on our forehead.
On our forehead.
And we,
so dumb.
It's so dumb, but it was so funny. And the look on their face was just utter shock and priceless. And then we ate the ice cream cones. So, I mean,
putting it on our foreheads.
Yeah. But we just like, we have so many of those. We got our belly buttons pierced together. Like we've
done a lot.
We've done so much. And so this song just really provided us the opportunity to look at Veeman's relationship a little bit more and then reflect back on our own friendship and feel just super grateful and mushy gushy about each other. And I love this lyric because this is something that we've talked about before. Like we've wondered when BTS is no longer making music or performing together, will they stay friends? Like what would their lives look like when they're like 50 years old? And so when they say someday when these cheers die down, stay by my side forever. Keep staying here like your tiny pinky, like promise. And also like that moment.
That iconic moment, Veeman moment where they compare pinky sizes.
Yeah.
And as the song concludes, they belt, really Taeyang belts, you are my soulmate. Yeah. You are my soulmate. And this is a phrase or term that ARMY has really given them because ARMY sees the friendship and sees the love, and they're like, yep, we're soulmates. And
you are my soulmate. Hey. Oh, God, it's so good.
It's a wonderful song, and it really provided us an outlet to just think about our friendship. But I think it's good for anyone who's got a good friend out there. You know, I mean, just, you know, listen to the song together, or even if they don't like BTS, just try to reach out to them or something and just express your love and care for them and how you feel blessed or whatever. Yeah.
Listen, tell your friends that you love them and how grateful you are for them and how much you appreciate them, because they deserve it, and it just makes your friendship so much better to be open in that way. Yeah.
All right. So next is Moon, which is Jin's solo song. It is written and produced by Michael Daniel Caesar, RM, Hyung Kwon-do, Alex Ludwig Lindell, Jin, Park Soo-yeon, Candice Nicole Sosa, and DJ Swivel. So the vibe and feel for this song, this to me is just such a happy, blissful love song, even without knowing the lyrics. When you hear it, it really feels like a love song. Oh my goodness. In a happy, upbeat one, you know, and you could put it in your favorite rom-com K-drama right now, and just imagine Kim Seok-jin being the leading man of this rom-com K-drama. Like, just imagine that when you listen to Moon, like you'll be wrecked.
We want the fucking K-drama.
We want the K-drama. Damn it.
God, I'm so mad. Where the fuck is it?
I hope these movie references are hinting at something.
Yes, BTS movie. BTS in Hollywood. Okay.
Yes. But yeah, the vibe and feel, it's happy, it's upbeat, you've got this clapping and this light acoustic guitar strumming. But really, can we just talk about how this song is so fun and uplifting and playful, and how that really suits and fits Jen's personality and attitude like so well. Not to down his other solo songs, but I just feel like this was long overdue, this more upbeat happy song, because Jen, I feel that's who Jen is. You know, he's got such a fun personality. But oh my gosh, when we get into the lyrics, guys, I wasn't prepared. I loved the song, listening to it, but when we read the lyrics, I was like, my heart is like crushing because Jen is just so sweet in this song. So in the lyrics, he says, "You are my earth, and to you, I'm just a moon. You are my earth, and all I see is you. The only thing I do is to gaze at you like this." And, oh, guys, I mean, this is really him expressing his love for Army, but for him to go as far to say like this, like these lyrics, that he really adores us, and it like revolves around us, which you would just think it's the other way around, that we revolve around him. But it's just so humbling how he downplays himself by saying, he's not just saying I'm a moon or I'm your moon. He's saying just a moon. Like he's really downplaying himself, which kind of breaks my heart a little bit because he's so more than that. But I think he just is, this is his way of saying like, without Army, without you guys, like that I look to you and I gaze at you with like these hard eyes. Like he just really loves and adores Army. And oh, it's just beautiful.
Bethany, I just thought about something else that we didn't even have written down, and now I'm emotional.
What? Oh no, what?
Okay, so the moon provides us light at night.
At night,
Jen provides us light in our darkest times. No.
But he does.
Oh, but it's so
and he's
true.
so beautiful.
And he's so fucking beautiful. And he just shines.
We're just gazing back at him. Damn it.
I know, I'm sorry. He's really downplaying himself though by saying just a moon. Like to us, like he and the rest of BTS is literally the center of our fucking universe. Like
yeah.
He goes on to say, though they say I'm beautiful, my sea is all black, a star where flowers bloom and the sky is blue. The one who is truly beautiful is you. So again, this is bringing in that humility, and he's like, I mean, he says all the time himself that he's beautiful, worldwide handsome.
Oh, yeah.
And it's again, he's just further expressing his love for Army to say the one who's truly beautiful is you. And, you know, he to us, or to him, we are beautiful, and to us, he is beautiful. And it's just a truly symbiotic relationship of loving each other so passionately. He says, I didn't even have a name before I met you. You gave me your love and became my reason now. So going on with that same kind of theme. And then, even if my painful wounds might be found out by you, I will orbit you. I will stay by your side. I will be your light for all of you. No, I forgot about that part. Oh.
All for you. All for you. I will be your light.
Oh. Yeah.
Orbiting around us, it just, you know, how do you look at the moon the same anymore? It just makes me, I feel like this song, if I'm ever going through a hard time, I could really listen to it and be like, listen to it at night and look at the moon and
feel okay.
Yeah, and feel okay.
And there's like that kind of, old saying that people would say if they were far apart from somebody and they knew they wouldn't be able to be in touch with them. Like, we look at the same moon, like look up at the moon and I'll be looking up at the moon. So it's kind of like that thing. Like if we miss
a connection.
Yeah. The connection through the moon. If we miss them, we can just play this song and look up at the moon. Yeah. So
it's such a great song.
Such a great song. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah. It's one of my faves.
Yeah, I love it. And I love that. I mean, I love his Awake and Epiphany are fucking incredible. They are ballads. His voice is just next fucking level. But this song is just so him. Whereas those last two songs didn't allow him to express his like personality as much. It was more look at his amazing voice and his passion and the story that he's bringing through. So I love it. Okay, so the next song is Respect, and it was written and produced by Hiss Noise, Suga, RM, and El Capitan. So the vibe and feel of this song, because it's a Suga and RM song, this is fucking classic Bangtan. This is classic rap vibes. They are sampling other songs, but it really sounds like a song that could be off of like their first or second album, which I just love. We get that classic hip hop beat, and it really feels like Namjoon and Yoongi have gone back to their roots.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because there's not like any crazy complex rapping or flow switch up that we're used to seeing now, like in UGG, where they all varied their flow throughout, each one of their verses multiple times, switched it up. This is more steady rapping and not as flashy. And they're just really having a lot of fun with it. There's talking at the end of it, and even just like vocal tone throughout that reminds us of their skits that are on earlier albums. And if you don't remember from our album reviews of those albums that had the skits, a skit is a classic hip hop thing. Like 80s, 90s rap artists in the States would put a skit on their album, and it would literally just be like studio talk that they put in there. So including this again brings us back to the early days of Bangtan.
And I just can't help but to think that like Namjoon and Yoongi were the first two members of BTS. And they've been living together forever.
Yeah. So as far as the lyrics, right at the beginning, we get those classic vibes with a put your hands in the air. And then we get Namjoon saying, "Ayo, Suga," which is just the fucking best.
Such a throwback.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a throwback. "Ayo, Suga."
Amazing.
It really warmed all of our hearts to hear it. They go on to say, respect, the word itself is overused. Anyone who does anything is deserving of it, treated as a higher tier than love. And so here in the States, I think the word respect isn't really overused, maybe a little bit, but we kind of did a little bit of background. And in South Korea specifically, the word respect is overused. And they go on, like how they say that anyone who does anything is deserving of the word respect. And so therefore there's this loss of the meaning of the word. And so they're kind of expressing how they're not sure what it represents anymore. And the whole song is really a question mark of what is it? What does it mean to have respect or gain respect or to, provide respect for another person?
Yeah. And even we read that this word could almost be used like in a meme like fashion now, with especially younger kids just using it constantly. Like if and they use the English word respect just interjected into Korean. So it's like, a boy gets up and like throws a piece of paper into the trash can, and his friends are joking around, "Oh, respect," like, or like, they just use it for throw it around like it's, any other word. It has such a general usage now, especially in younger generations. So they do a really smart wordplay with this word because they're lyrical geniuses, and they play on respect. They break it down into the root words in English. So it's like re-inspect, And so like relook at your perspective, relook at yourself, and reinspect who you are and why you think you're so deserving of this title of having respect.
Of respect. Yeah. I love that smart wordplay, that reinspect. Very, very neat.
Yeah.
Some of the other lyrics is, when you keep looking at someone, you're bound to see their flaws. But the fact that you nonetheless want to keep looking requires absolute faith in that someone, which is why I can't really say it so easily. For me, this is like a really heavy lyric here. Just that when you are trying to respect someone, or you're wanting to respect them, or trying to gain respect, like even despite their flaws, like you really have to nonetheless keep looking and acquire a faith that in that person. And despite all these flaws or whatever, you know, choosing to respect them, despite like maybe indifference between each other. So going on just to say that it takes a lot to gain respect, but also it takes a lot to maintain respect. And it takes a lot to just respect someone, because you're really having to look at that person as a whole, flaws and all. Yeah,
because if like, I mean, not that I'm going to name names or say anyone specific, but there's people that if you say you respect them, or if you're a fan of them, you're going to turn some heads, because it could be even controversial, because you might respect, you can't just say, oh, I like their work ethic or something like that. If they're like a totally awful person in some other aspect of their life, respect doesn't work that way. If you're giving someone your respect, you're really going all in on them.
You are. Yes. Yeah. Just such a heavy word. You know, it means a lot.
Well, yeah, it should, right? And so this whole song is just talking about how it has lost this meaning, and they don't want to throw it around so easily. At the end, they themselves are respecting each other and almost giving each other well wishes for the future, saying, I hope your life is blessed with all honor and prosperity. I hope your future is accompanied by an eternal blessing. And this just makes me think of, like you said, they were the first two members. They've been through so much together. They've grown so much. They've done so much. And so they spend the song talking about how they do not throw this word around easily. They don't say it easily, but they respect the hell out of each other. Yeah. I also have to mention that Yoongi, kind of as a metaphor, says money, fame, forward. And he kind of says it with a little bit of a sarcastic tone, I feel. And this mimics the epilogue Young Forever line that he had, which is dream, hope, forward. And that was just when they were talking about what people have that makes them gain respect, which is money and fame, instead of dreaming and hoping.
Yeah. Two very different things to respect people for. It's like, which, really, come on.
What do you want?
Think about which one should you really respect a person for? Yeah. Interesting.
But such a great song. Classic.
I love it. I jam out to it. I kind of bounce up and down in the car when I'm like dancing along. That classic old school hip hop.
Yeah, record scratch.
I love that dialogue with them at the end where it kind of sounds like a skit. Like, what is respect? I don't know. They're just kind of playing around, and it's cute.
Yeah, super cute. Love them.
Okay. So the last, I guess it's not the last song on the album, guys, but the last one that we're going to talk about is We Are Bulletproof, The Eternal. This song, guys, was written and produced by DJ Swivel, Audion, Sunshine, Etta Zelmani, RM, Will Tanner, Gustin Dalfst.
Fuck if I know.
Shoot.
Sorry. Dahlquist. Fuck. I don't know how that QV. Dahlquist. Gustin Dahlquist.
There you go. Yeah. Sorry, Gustin. Okay. Candace, Nicole Soso, Suga, J-Hope, Elohim, and Antonina Armato, and Gel. A lot of interesting people. A lot of names we haven't heard before. So the vibe and feel for this song, it's pretty brief how we describe this, but really, this is so much EDM and it's very powerful, and it's like a ballad, but also an anthem. And you feel a lot with it, especially like at the beginning. It kind of starts off a little slow, but when you get to the chorus of this song and the heart of the song, it's so powerful. It's empowering.
Yeah, you don't even have to know lyrics or anything at all, understand it at all, to feel kind of the unification that is happening with this song, that feeling of togetherness and, you know, all of their voices layered together and singing together.
Yeah. And you just know that at the concert that this is going to be the end of the concert, the ending song. This
is going to be like after they go off stage and then they come out for their quote encore, and it's the final ment and they perform this song last. And then we're all going to be bawling and then they're going to leave and then we're going to leave and
not ready.
Just crying. Not ready. So getting into the lyrics, at the beginning, Yoongi said, "We made it against the negative looks, bad memories, many trials, bulletproof. We bravely blocked them all, bulletproof." And for me, even right off the bat at the beginning of this song, it's already summing up this album so well, because throughout this album, they talk about all of the struggles that they've gone through, you know, respectively, things that have happened or, you know, trials that they've faced, problems that they've had. And this is bringing those up again, but then saying, we're fucking bulletproof. We blocked them.
We blocked them, yeah.
Yeah. And then Namjoon saying, "Our name that everyone laughed at, that we were once embarrassed by. This is a proof made of iron, bulletproof." And I get chills every time because they're totally reclaiming their name. They're so proud. Like, I mean, even me, like, I'm guilty of not wanting to tell people that BTS, Bangtan Sonyeondan, stands for Bulletproof Boy Scouts, because I just don't think that they'll get it. And
be very turned off by it.
By hearing
it
somebody
sounds silly or can't take it seriously. And I'm in the same boat. I do the exact same thing, because a big follow-up question when you say you like BTS or my tattoo is from, you know, a group called BTS, one of their albums, and they're like, what does BTS stand for? Yeah. But yes, this reclaiming of the name, it's like, we are bulletproof, and they're still, you know, this is really a testament to that. They started off saying Bulletproof Boy Scouts, and here they are at the end, choosing not to satisfy the haters and staying true to themselves and really being bulletproof and blocking out and not being affected by the hate and whatever. So I love this reclaiming of the name.
Almost like all this time, the hate hasn't really affected them or gotten to them because they have been bulletproof.
They've been bulletproof. Yeah. I love it. So they go on to say, "We were only 7, but we have you all now. After 7 winters and springs, at the tips of our fingers and are locked. Yeah, we got to heaven." And we got to
full
heaven.
chills.
Yeah, I mean, they're in heaven now. They feel, and we all feel blissful, and that this safe place where, you know, I don't want to say it feels like the end, you know, because a lot of people associate heaven with the end, but it's like, where nothing can upset us anymore. And
I mean, not that we don't want this to be the end, but just for one of the few, like, I'm sure we'll have more biblical references when we talk about the On music video, but we're talking about heaven. This is Map of the Soul 7. It's been 7 years. There's 7 of them. 7 is like this perfect number.
Holy number. It's a holy number.
And so it just seems like, you know, they've completed at least this phase, this part of their life, this first 7 years. It was, you know, their first contract. They've re-signed their contract for their next 7 years already. They did that last year. But, you know, to get to this point, like, how incredible for them. and just taking this moment to reflect back with this album on the past 7 winters and springs.
Yeah, and just another biblical reference that is kind of made is they say, throw stones at me, we're not afraid anymore. And we just, being raised Christian, I can't help but to think of like the people who stood up for their faith being stoned to death. Like there's that kind of biblical reference there.
And then they say, we are together bulletproof. Yeah, we have you. And then they say, we are forever bulletproof. And this, of course, is the part of the song. Every time that lyric comes on, that's our anthem. That's when we really feel like, you know, they're not just talking about themselves, the 7 of them. They're talking about all of us are bulletproof. I think every single person who's a member of BTS has faced some sort of adversity because of it. You know, somebody in your life has turned up their nose at even just the thought, the mention of K-pop or BTS, or has made fun of you for fangirling, or doesn't get why you would want to listen to some boy band from South Korea. But, you know, like just hearing them say this, to say, we are forever. We're together bulletproof, and we're forever bulletproof, is just really reassuring and comforting. And it's also a fucking like battle cry, like, fuck yes, we are. We are bulletproof. Like anything that it makes me feel ultra proud.
Me too. Yeah. And it's just being proud of being an army, being proud of BTS being proud of us. This song unifies us all. Another lyric that they kind of say throughout is, yeah, we are not 7 with you. Like they themselves don't even feel like 7 together without us army being there with them.
The number is far more vast. One of the last lines during the bridge of this song is, tell me your every story. Tell me why you still walking with us. So I just thought, I mean, I know we still have to say that Ego is at the end of this album and give our final thoughts, but I just thought it'd be nice if we kind of talked about towards the end of all this, why are we still walking with them? And for me, it's just, ever since I got introduced to them, I haven't looked back. I've always found exactly what I need from them, you know, when I need it. There's been songs that have really moved me emotionally, songs that have gotten me through things, songs that have made me feel so happy that I couldn't even believe that's the feeling I could get from music. And
from idols.
And I'm still here because I feel like they're real people. They're humble. They do such a good job of showing us their authentic selves. And to me, that's something that I personally really respect, and that I think it's special that they're able to do that in the capacity that they still do.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I was thinking about this question when I was on my way to work this morning, listening to the song. And for me, from the beginning, I enjoyed the music. I really enjoyed the music, and I think that was the main thing that got me into it. But then just falling in love with their personalities, and ever since then, they've just been such a blessing, and that their music has really helped me, and their music is constantly good. Like it's just always really, really well done. And I vibe and jam to all their songs, but I can also cry and be happy with their songs. It's become a passion of mine, and I guess maybe a hobby in a way, like something that just brings me a lot of joy. They've brought you and I even to be closer. It's a mix of it all. And, you know, how could I walk away? They've done nothing that would make me want to stop being with them, except for being way too fucking hot.
For our health, we have to understand.
It's the music. It's the music. It's their personalities. I feel like they're our friends, you know, and really good friends.
And they make music that they want to make that resonates with them, and somehow it also resonates with us and the rest of Army in so many different ways. And I feel like we're just gonna be with them as long as they will let us.
Yeah. Wow.
And when we're like 50 years old, we're totally hiring private investigators to figure out where they are at that time. You know?
I'm excited to see where they go in life after BTS.
I feel like I'm going to be a lifelong fan.
Oh,
I feel
too.
like
I'm going to play their music for my kids.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, and I'm going to keep up on their lives when I'm, you know,
if they have like a reunion tour, oh my God, Kayla, that just,
can you imagine?
That just solidifies, like, it's really, they've given us a place where we as friends can continue to see each other later on in life, like after we have kids or whatever, and maybe we'll stop doing this podcast and be a little bit more distant with each other. But I mean, if there's a BTS reunion tour or something, of course we're going to hit each other up, you know,
and we'll always have this time, you know, in our history together. We have 107 recorded conversations that are like that we've had.
An hour long. Yeah.
That like if we're ever missing each other, if we can stand the sound of our own voice, we can go back and listen. Whenever I do though, I just like laugh and smile along because I just love you and I love our friendship so much. And I just love that like BTS has really given us this part of our lives. I would have
never thought that this would have come.
We'd have a podcast.
Would have come from being a fan of BTS. Yeah.
I know so much has come from it. So many good things.
And all of you guys, all you iconics too. You guys all have your special connection with BTS too, and what they've brought to you in your life. And I mean, of course, like that's why we're still walking with them. They've brought us. They've brought us more than just what most music can bring. They've really given themselves to us and provided us with so many wonderful, wonderful things.
BTS, we love you so much.
Thank you for this album. So lastly here, guys, the last song in the album, well, it's kind of the last song in the album, is Outro Ego, which is J-Hope's solo song. It was written and produced by Hiss Noise, Supreme Boy, and J-Hope. Definitely, guys, if you want to know more about the lyrics, production, and meaning of the song, go check out our 103rd episode, which is, I think it's called That's My Ego or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. We did it.
We did it. I absolutely love this album. I was surprised by it. I was, of course, impressed by it. I could not even pick a favorite song. No. Of course, there's songs that I tend to play on repeat more often. But I truly enjoy what each member has given us in this album. I am so fucking excited for the concert and to hear some of these songs live. I'm super happy. I love it.
I'm super happy too. It's a great cathartic album.
Yeah. And super meaningful for us ARMY who have either been around a long time or have gone back and, you know, learned the history of BTS and ARMY, because there's so many like BTS ARMY relationship feels in this album that just really highlights how close we are and how important we are to each other. Yeah.
It's really a beautiful gift for ARMY and BTS.
Yeah. So guys, if you like this episode, if you've enjoyed any of our previous episodes, there's a few things you can do to let us know. You can contact us on social media, or you can send us an email to give us feedback about this episode, or just let us know your thoughts and feelings about the album. Also, spreading the word about this podcast via word of mouth, like telling people in your regular life, whether they like BTS or not, you know, maybe you introduce them to BTS by introducing them to this podcast. And maybe
they like podcasts and you're like, hey,
there's this podcast I like, and you know, you haven't heard much about this topic, but maybe you would like it now. That's truly the best way to get other people to know about us. But you can also, of course, write a review for us on iTunes or really whatever platform you listen on, and all of that means so much to us. We thank you so much.
The support is wonderful. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, iconics. You are all iconic, and Kayla, you and I are iconic, and we're all just being iconic together, being a part of the best fandom ever.
Yeah, literally. So you can find links for all of those things in the description.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for standing BTS.